Hey guys, Melissa Fisher here. Now, I did promise you that I was going to give you an update on my findings from my trip up to Southeast Queensland and then over to WA. So let's start with Southeast Queensland. Wow, what a whirlwind trip that it was, but a heap came out of it. So the first day was a bus trip that we travelled around to various locations, and then second day we were in the room as a part of a large format retail association. So what were the findings? One of the biggest standouts was tenant mix at the moment. Now, I've always spoken about how important tenant mix is when you've got multiple occupancies. And it doesn't matter whether it's a small group of shops or it's a whole shopping centre, the tenant mix is imperative. A lot of time and effort actually goes into planning how this works and then watching how it actually unfolds and being able to tweak things along the way. So you'll see things that are definites as you go to various different shopping centres. You'll see things that are the same, which is fantastic. But as times change, what we do needs to change as well. So anyway, speaking with this guys and seeing what they're doing are relevant to whether it was building brand new or whether it was a refurb on something that was existing or simply just filling some vacancies, the standouts were exactly the same. A lot of consideration needs to be given to how we get people back in store. And this is a big deal. So we looked at the impact of online shopping. Now, while online shopping has had an impact, no two ways about it, we love convenience, and I'm sure everyone does some sort of online shopping, there's still a lot of things that you can't actually do and buy online. Like, buy a cup of coffee. Your meat still generally comes from a butcher and you'll go in there and you'll hand pick it yourself for a lot of people. Now, there are conveniences with Coles and Woolworths, supermarket deliveries. I totally agree. But again, there are some things that you just can't do that with. How about your visit medically? Now, I know, yes, you can do some online doctor's visits and all the rest of it. There are things that you can't do online as far as medical checkups and everything go as well. While we're looking at our tenant mix, the biggest focus used to be on who can leverage who and foot traffic and our multinationals down to our smaller independents. The difference in value they delivered, the difference in rates that they paid, and then how they work together. And it still is a very big focus. But the initial focus now needs to be how do we get shoppers back in store? And the easiest way to do it is to have something there that they can't do online. Now, like I just mentioned, yes, there's coffee shops and aspects of medical. Give consideration to chiro and physio, these sort of things as well that you actually have to turn up to. The gym is another big one, another big leverage. So start thinking about that when you're giving consideration to creating a asset from the very beginning or whether you're replacing tenancies. Do you need to think about bringing more people in store? What does that look like for your tenants and ultimately the end users? So that was a big focus, and it was great to see different ways that they were actually undertaking this. And they use an amount of time, effort and funds to do the research and try and test. So it certainly does pay to give some thought and consideration to what these guys are doing. The other big tick on that sector was technology and how we can utilize technology. And yes, we've all been paying close attention to what's happening in the AI space specifically, but technology is expanding consistently. And while there's an amount of pushback and we think more about what it's doing to employment and other things, there's definitely a good side to it as well. Again, start looking at what you can use, the benefits that it makes to an operational perspective for your tenants, again to the end user, but certainly cost effective for you as a landlord or an owner of a property. There's a lot of money again being spent on improving technology and certainly the data and the output that comes off the back of it. Now, I saw some amazing things as far as automated lighting and creating different experiences in store, which was incredible to see because our way of shopping changes over time and it always will. It will continue to do so. So what we're doing today will not be the same in 10 years' time. So we need to be progressive. We need to be looking at ways where we create new experiences for shoppers, where it makes it more enjoyable, where they'll stay longer, when they will actually gain something off the back of being there. A lot to give consideration to, a lot of excitement around it, a lot of buzz going on around progress and how things are going to change over time and what's going to happen short term and certainly what's going to happen in the long term. So some of it is a little bit of watch this space, But I do suggest that you actually start thinking about these things with your own portfolios when you're looking to buy and we're looking at what our uplifts are. Wow, start looking at your tenants. Start looking at technology. It's there for us. Really is going to get down to getting out there and speaking to people and seeing what's been working and maybe what's not working, how we can change things. Maybe leading in this spaces is something that you'd give consideration to. Maybe that's your gig. Well, if it is, get out there and take control of it, because there's a lot happening. There's a lot of opportunity and someone's going to take it. So it may as well be you. All right. So that was a lot said for Queensland. The one other thing I did want to mention off the back of the Large Format Retail Association and those guys, they're all retail. Okay, now they got hit really hard over the last few years and it takes time for things to turn around. And it was really interesting because we listened to economists and what has been and the assumptions on what will be or maybe. The one thing that came off that was their confidence in their industry, their confidence in shoppers. They are still building, they are still signing up leases, they are still taking on new premises in various locations. They are not slowing down. The amount of confidence was incredible. Now, this should be a big deal to all of you to know that the guys playing at that level, they put a lot of money into it. They still have to do a lot of due diligence, a lot of research. They still do the same things as we all do. But they have a huge amount of confidence in what's coming, what's happening, and the impact that they're actually going to have. Why? Because they're looking at things progressively. All right, so they know what's going to be done. Now they're just working through the ways to do it. So that amount of confidence seriously says something. Don't get hung up on what you hear in the media of what can and what can't. Really start taking a look at what is happening and who's backing it, because it was very exciting to see, very exciting to listen to, and it doesn't come without challenge. There's still challenge associated, but the amount of confidence is incredible. That should be very, very reassuring to all of us. So that was all things shopping centre, Southeast Queensland. It was an amazing experience up there, and it was just great listening to some of the things that are going on and seeing what's unfolding in that space. So I'm very grateful to be a part of that. So from there, I headed over to WA, and you know what? Shopping centres, it was amazing. So I got taken around to various different projects that are happening over there. Incredible. So much opportunity out there. So it really is a sign of the times. It's easy to get caught up in the drama of and interest rates are going up and all of the negativity. But the reality is there is so much opportunity. And I'll be honest, I'm not concerned about interest rates going up. I'm not concerned about the challenges that are going on at all, not with the amount of opportunity there is. What I am going to say to you though is you have to give consideration to doing things differently. You must be progressive, and you've got to start looking at how we can do things better and the uplifts we create, how we're working with tenancies, what we actually deliver, and a whole lot differently to what we used to. It's a different environment, treat it differently, but also understand that the opportunities and the returns are there. So while I was over there, I looked at a couple of projects for myself. It was very exciting, and why would I not? Okay, so I got taken around to a lot of them, and there was nothing there not remotely suggestive an industry or an environment that was detrimental. Now, this goes without saying, do your due diligence, make sure it stacks up. It's all about data-backed numbers, so it's not hard. Back yourself, but have some great reassurance and understanding around what the environment's doing and the progress that it's actually making. So the market over in WA was fantastic. I saw some great resi deals while I was over there, still doing exceptionally well. On the commercial side of things, industrial side of things, it was amazing to see the movement in areas, what was available. Our price points were really good, but also looking at some of the big players over there and seeing where they're positioning themselves and what they're actually doing. Again, it was a great reassurance of what's happening in the industry and the confidence around it. So a lot of food for thought, guys. Two other quick things I just wanted to touch on is the funding side of things, taking time. So something else you need to look at differently. Please don't rely on just your standard lenders and getting that across the line quickly. Again, something else you need to look at differently. Start thinking about where you're getting your funds from, what that looks like, maybe some private lending, what that looks like, okay, because change has happened. Give consideration to what has gone on over the last 12 months, 2 years, as far as businesses that haven't survived, especially in the construction sector. This has created risk around lenders. Now, there are some great building companies out there and great builders out there, as there are all trades. But because of the amount that didn't survive it, and some of the big ones, it means the lenders have associated more risk in the construction side of things. That makes it challenging to get funding over the line sometimes. Now, it doesn't say you can't, you can, but you need to allow more time, and there's a whole lot more paperwork to be done and hoops to jump through. Okay, so just be conscious of that, and maybe start looking at some alternate options there, okay? So give yourself a little bit more time when you're doing finance clauses and these sort of things, okay? And maybe look beyond where you've looked before for some further support. Otherwise, I'm excited. I think there are so many opportunities out there at the moment to better your portfolio, to improve on what you've already got, and then to take on some new projects and create some great outcomes. I'm not concerned. I understand interest rates are going up, but again, when we do things the way we do things, we're looking at commercial, industrial, double-digit returns consistently. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not concerned. I'm excited to see what's happening out there, the confidence in the industry. Take the time to do your research, to give thought to what your portfolio needs, and then get out there and create some amazing end results. I'll keep you posted with further changes. There's a lot going on. We have a lot of projects that I'll check in on and let you know how all those are going and do a few updates for you. Otherwise, let me know how you're going, what your portfolio is doing, if you're challenged with any of your projects. Certainly happy to help out in that space. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I certainly will. Okay, bye for now.